네, 안녕하세요. 네, 영어 쉐도잉 21차 연습을 시작하겠습니다. 음, 저는 현재 테드 영상을 가지고 영어 쉐도잉 연습을 하고 있습니다. 한 100일 정도 진행을 할 예정이고 100일 후에 제가 이제 얼만큼 영어 실력이 변화되는지를 관찰하려고 매일매일 30분씩 영상을 찍고 있습니다. 제가 하고 있는 테드 영상은 Simple Way to Break a Bad Habit 이라는 제목의 영상이고 강연자는 저드슨 브루어입니다. 네, 그러면 오늘도 연습 한번 시작해 보겠습니다.
When I was first learning to meditate,
When I was first learning to meditate,
the instruction was to simply pay attention to my breath,
the instruction was to simply pay attention to my breath,
and when my mind wandered, to bring it back.
and when my mind wandered, to bring it back.
Sounded simple enough,
Sounded simple enough,
yet I'd sit on these silent retreats,
yet I sit on this silent retreat,
sweating through t-shirts in the middle of winter.
sweating through t-shirts in the middle of winter.
I take naps every chance I got because it was really hard work.
I take naps every chance I got. Naps every chance I got because it was really hard work.
Actually, it was exhausting.
Actually, it was exhausting.
The instruction was simple enough,
The instruction was simple enough,
but I was missing something really important.
but I was missing something really important.
So why is it so hard to pay attention?
So why is it so hard to pay attention?
Well, studies show that even when we're really trying to pay attention to something,
Well, studies show that even when we're really trying to pay attention to something,
like maybe this talk,
like maybe this talk,
at some point about half of us will drift off into a daydream,
at some point about half of us will drift off into a daydream,
or have this urge to check our Twitter feed.
or have this urge to check our Twitter feed.
So what's going on here?
So what's going on here?
It turns out that we're fighting one of the most evolutionarily conserved learning processes currently known in science.
It turns out that we're fighting one of the most evolutionarily conserved learning processes currently known in science,
One that's conserved back to the most basic nervous systems known to man.
one that's conserved back to the most basic nervous systems known to man.
This reward-based learning process is called positive and negative reinforcement and basically goes like this.
The reward-based learning process is called positive and negative reinforcement and basically goes like this.
We see some food that looks good, our brain says calories, survival.
We see something that looks good, our brain say calories, survival.
We eat the food, we taste it tastes good.
We eat the food, we taste it tastes good.
And especially with sugar, our body sends a signal to our brain that says,
And especially with sugar, our body sends a signal to our brain that says,
remember what you're eating and where you found it.
remember what you're eating, where you found it.
We lay down this context-dependent memory
We lay down this context-dependent memory
and learn to repeat the process next time.
and learn to repeat the process next time.
See food, eat food, feel good, repeat.
See food, eat food, feel good, repeat.
Trigger, behavior, reward. Simple, right?
Trigger, behavior, reward. Simple, right?
Well, after a while, our creative brains say,
Well, after a while, our creative brain says,
you know what? You can use this for more than just remembering where food is.
You know what? You can use this for more than just remembering foodies.
Next time you feel bad,
Next time you feel bad,
why don't you try eating something good
why don't you try eating something good
so you'll feel better?
so you'll feel better?
We thank our brains for the great idea.
We thank our brains for a great idea. We thank our brains for a great idea.
Try this and quickly learn that if we eat chocolate
Try this and quickly learn that if we eat chocolate
or
or
ice
ice
cream
cream
when we're
when we are
mad or
mad or
sad, we feel
sad,
better.
we feel better.
Same process,
Same
just a
process,
different trigger.
just a different
Instead
trigger.
of this hunger signal coming from our stomach,
Instead of this hunger signal coming from our stomach,
this emotional signal,
this
feeling
emotional
sad,
signal,
triggers that urge to eat.
feeling sad triggers that urge to eat.
Maybe in our teenage years,
Maybe in our teenage years,
we were a nerd at school,
we were a nerd at school,
and we see those rebel kids outside smoking, and we think, hey,
and we see those rebel kids outside smoking, and we think, hey,
I want to be cool.
I
So we
wanna be
start
cool.
smoking.
So we start smoking.
The Marlboro Man wasn't a dork, and that was no accident.
The Marlboro Man wasn't a dork, and that was no accident.
See cool, smoke to be cool, feel good.
See cool, smoke to be cool, feel good.
Repeat.
Repeat.
Trigger, behavior,
Trigger,
reward.
behavior, reward.
And each time we do this,
And each time we do this,
we learn to repeat the process,
we learn to repeat the process,
and it becomes a habit.
and it becomes a habit.
So later,
So later,
feeling stressed out triggers that urge to smoke a cigarette
feeling stressed out triggers the urge to smoke a cigarette
or to eat something sweet.
or to eat something sweet.
Now with these same brain processes,
Now with these same brain processes,
we've gone from learning to survive
we've gone from learning to survive
to literally killing ourselves with these habits.
to really killing ourselves with these habits.
Obesity and smoking are among the leading preventable causes of morbidity and mortality in the world.
Obesity and smoking are among the leading preventable causes of morbidity and mortality in the world.
So back to my breath.
So back to my breath.
What if instead of fighting our brains or
What if instead of fighting our brains or
trying to force ourselves to pay attention,
trying to force ourselves to pay attention,
we instead tapped into this natural reward-based learning process?
we instead tapped into these natural reward-based learning processes,
But added a twist.
but added a treat?
What if instead we just got really curious about what
What if instead we just got really curious about
was happening in our momentary experience?
what is happening in the momentary experience?
I'll give you an example.
I'll give you an example.
In my lab, we studied whether mindfulness training could help people quit smoking.
In my lab, we studied whether mindfulness training could help people quit smoking.
Now, just like trying to force myself to pay attention to my breath,
Now, just like trying to force myself to pay attention to my breath,
they could try to force themselves to quit smoking.
they could try to force themselves to quit smoking.
And the majority of them had tried this before and failed,
And majority of them had tried this before and failed,
on average 6 times.
on average 6 times.
Now, with mindfulness training, we dropped a bit about forcing
Now, in mindfulness training, we dropped a bit about forcing
and instead focused on being curious.
and instead focused on being curious.
In fact, we even told them to smoke.
In fact, we even told them to smoke.
What? Yeah, we said go ahead and smoke.
What? We said, go ahead and smoke.
Just be really curious about what it's like when you do.
Just be really curious about what it's like when you do.
And what did they notice?
And what did they notice?
Oh, here's an example from one of our smokers.
Here's an example, one of our smokers.
She said, mindful smoking smells like stinky cheese and tastes like chemicals.
She said, mindful smoking smells like stinky cheese and tastes like chemicals.
Yuck.
Yuck.
Now, she knew cognitively that smoking was bad for her.
Now, she knew cognitively that smoking was bad for her.
That's why she joined our program.
That's why she joined our program.
What she discovered just by being curiously aware when she smoked
What she discovered just by being curious aware when she smoked
was that smoking tastes like shit. Now,
Now,
she moved from knowledge to wisdom.
She moved from knowledge to wisdom.
She moved from knowing in her head that smoking was bad for her
She moved up, she moved from knowing in her head that smoking was bad for her
to knowing it in her bones.
to knowing it in her bones.
And this spell of smoking was broken.
And the spell of smoking was broken.
She started to become disenchanted with her behavior.
She started to become disenchanted with her behaviors.
Now, the prefrontal cortex, that youngest part of our brain from an evolutionary perspective,
Now, the prefrontal cortex, the youngest part of our brain from an evolutionary perspective,
it understands on an intellectual level that we shouldn't smoke.
it understands on an intellectual level that we shouldn't smoke.
And it tries its hardest to help us change our behavior.
And it tries hardest to help us change our behavior,
To help us stop smoking, to help
to help us stop smoking,
us stop eating that
to help us stop eating that
second,
that
that
third,
third,
that
that
fourth
fourth cookie.
cookie.
We call this cognitive control. We're using cognition to control our behavior.
We call this cognitive control. We're using cognition to control our behavior.
Unfortunately, this is also the first part of our brain that goes offline when
Unfortunately, this is also the first part of our brain that goes offline
we get stressed out,
when it gets stressed out,
which isn't that helpful.
which is the help.
And we can all relate to this in our own experience.
And we can all relate to this in our own experience.
We're much more likely to do things like
We're much more likely to do things like
yell at our spouse or kids when we're stressed out or tired,
we're much more likely to do the things like get our spouse or kids were stressed out or tired,
even though we know it's not going to be helpful.
even though we know it's not gonna be helpful.
We just can't help ourselves.
We just can't help ourselves.
Now, when the prefrontal cortex goes offline,
Now, when the prefrontal cortex goes offline,
we fall back into our old habits,
we fall back into our other habits,
which is why this disenchantment is so important.
which is why this disenchantment is so important.
Seeing what we get from our habits
Seeing what we get from our habits
helps us understand them in a deeper level.
help us understand them at a deeper level,
To know it in our bones.
to
So
know in our bones.
we don't have to force ourselves to hold back or restrain ourselves from behavior.
To know in our bones. We don't have to force ourselves to hold back or restrain ourselves from behavior.
We're just less interested in doing it in the first place.
We're just less interested in doing it in the first place.
And this is what mindfulness is all about.
And this is what mindfulness is all about.
Seeing really clearly what we get when we get caught up in our behaviors,
Seeing really clearly what we get when we get caught up in our behavior.
becoming disenchanted
Becoming disenchanted
on a visceral
on a
level.
visceral level,
And from this disenchanted stance,
and from this disenchanted stance,
naturally letting go.
naturally letting go.
This isn't to say that
This isn't to say that
poof, magically we quit smoking,
magically we quit smoking,
but over time as we learn to see more and more clearly the results of our actions,
but over time as we learn to see more and more clearly the results of our actions,
we let go of old habits
we let go of our other habits
and form new ones.
and form new ones.
The paradox here
The paradox
is that
here
mindfulness is just about being
Is that mindfulness is just about being
really interested
really interested
in getting close and personal with
in getting close and personal with
what's actually happening
what's actually happening
in our bodies and minds from
in our bodies and minds
moment to moment.
from moment to moment.
This willingness to turn toward our experience rather
This willingness to turn toward our experience rather than
than trying to make unpleasant cravings go
trying to make unpleasant cravings go away
away as quickly as
as
possible.
quickly as possible.
And this willingness to turn toward our experience
And the willingness to turn toward our experience
is supported by curiosity,
is supported by curiosity,
which is naturally rewarding.
which is naturally rewarding.
What does curiosity feel like?
What does curiosity feel like?
It feels good.
It feels good.
And what happens when we get curious?
And what happens when you get curious?
We start to notice that cravings are simply made up of body sensations.
We started notice that we start to notice that cravings are made cra- cravings are simply made up of body sensations. We start we start to notice we start to notice we start to notice that cravings are simply made up of body sensations. We start to notice this we start to notice that cravings are simply made up of body sensations.
Oh, there's tightness,
Or
there's
there's
tension,
tightness,
there's
there's
restlessness,
tension, there's restlessness,
and that these body sensations come and go.
and these body sensations come and go.
These are bite-sized pieces of
These are bite-sized pieces of
experiences
experiences
that we can manage from moment to moment,
that we can manage from moment to moment,
rather than getting clobbered by
rather than getting clobbered by
this huge,
this huge,
scary craving that we
craving
choke on.
that we choke on.
In other words,
In other words,
when we get curious,
when we get curious,
we step out of our old
we step out of our old
fear-based reactive habit patterns
fear-based reactive habit patterns,
and we step into being.
and we step into being.
We become this
We become this
inner scientist
inner scientist,
where we're
where
eagerly
we're
awaiting that next
eagerly
data
awaiting that
point.
next data point.
Now,
Now,
this might sound too simplistic to affect behavior,
this might sound too simplistic to affect behavior,
but in one study we
but in one study we found that
found that mindfulness training was
mindfulness training was
twice as good as gold
was twice as good as
standard therapy at helping
core standard therapy
people quit smoking.
and helping people quit smoking.
So it actually works.
So it actually works.
And when we studied the brains of experienced
And when we study the brains of experienced meditators,
we found that
we found that
parts of a neural network
a part of neural network we found that parts of neural network
of the self-referential process
of, of self-referential processing
called the default mode network were
for the default mode network
at play.
were at play.
Now, one current hypothesis
Now, one current hypothesis
is that a region of this
is there a region of
network called the
this network called
posterior cingulate cortex
a region of this network called the posterior cingulate cortex
is activated not necessarily
is activated not necessarily by
by craving itself,
craving itself,
but when we get caught up in it,
but when it gets caught up in it,
when we get sucked in and it
when it gets sucked in it, it
takes us for a ride.
sucked in it, sucked in it, it takes us for a ride.
In contrast, when we
In con, sucked in it, sucked in it, sucked in it, sucked in it takes us for a ride.
let go,
In contrast, when it let go,
step out of the process
step out of the process
just by being curiously aware of what's happening,
just by being curiously aware of what's happening, just by being curiously aware of what's happening,
this same brain region quiets down.
the same brain region quiets down. The same brain regions.
Region quiets down.
The same brain region quiets down. Quiets down. This same brain region quiets down.
Now we're testing app and online-based mindfulness training program.
Now we're testing. Now we're testing app and online-based learning for mindfulness training. Now we're testing app and online-based mindfulness training programs
That target these core mechanisms. And ironically, use the same technology
use same
that's driving us
technologies
to distraction
that's driving us to distraction, and ironically use the same technology that's driving us to distraction
to help us step out of our
to help us step out of our
unhealthy habit patterns.
unhealthy habit patterns.
Use the same technology that's driving us to distraction to help us step out of our unhealthy habit patterns of
to help us step out of our unhealthy parents,
smoking, of stress eating, and other addictive behaviors.
of smoking, of stress eating, or other addictive behaviors.
Now remember that bit about context-dependent
Now remember that bit about context-dependent memory.
We can deliver these tools
We can deliver these tools
to people's fingertips
to people's fingertips
in the context
in the context
that matter most.
most.
So we can help them tap into
So we can have them
their inherent capacity
tap into their inherent capacity
to be curiously aware
to be curious aware
right when that urge to smoke
right when the urge to
or stress eat or
smoke or stress eat
whatever arises.
or whatever arises.
So if you don't smoke or stress eat,
So if you don't smoke or stress eat,
maybe the next time you feel this urge to check your email when you're bored or you're
maybe next time you maybe next time maybe next time
so if you don't smoke or stress eat, maybe the next time you feel this urge to check your email when you're bored or
maybe next time if you feel that urge to check your email when you're bored, maybe next time you feel this urge to check your email when you're bored, this urge to check your email when you're bored.
so if you don't smoke or stress eat, maybe the next time you feel this urge to check your email when you're bored or you're
You feel this urge to check your email when you're bored,
trying to distract yourself from work,
or you're trying to distract yourself from work,
or maybe to compulsively
and maybe to compulsively
respond to that text message when
respond to the text message
you're driving.
when you're driving.
See if you can tap into
See if you can tap into
this natural capacity.
this natural capacity.
Just be curiously aware of
Just be curious aware of
what's happening in your body.
what's happening in your body and
mind
mind at the moment.
It will just be another chance to
It will just be another chance
perpetuate one of our endless
perpetuate one of our endless
and exhaustive habit loops,
and exhaustive habit loops,
or step out of it.
or step out of it.
Instead of see text message,
Instead of see text message,
compulsively text back,
compulsively text back,
feel a little bit better.
feel a little bit better,
Notice the urge,
notice the urge,
get curious, feel the joy of letting go,
feel the joy of letting go,
and repeat.
and repeat.
Thank you.
Thank you. 네, 네, 한 번 다 돌았는데요. 아직 시간이 8분, 7분 정도 남았네요. 그래서 이번에는 앞부분은 좀 잘 되는 것 같으니까 한 중간쯤으로 가서
That fork
한번 다시 해보겠습니다.
cookie. We call this cognitive control. We're
We call this cognitive control.
using cognition
We're using cognition
to control our
to
behavior.
control our behaviors.
Unfortunately, this is also the first part of our brain that goes offline when we get stressed out.
Unfortunately, this is also the first part of our brain that goes offline when it gets stressed out,
Which isn't that helpful.
which isn't helpful.
And we can all relate to this in our own experience.
We can all relate to this in our own experience.
We're much more likely to do things like yell at our spouse or kids when we're stressed out or tired, even though we know it's not going to be helpful.
We're much more likely to do things like yell at our spouse or kids when you're stressed out, tired, even though we know it's not gonna be helpful. We're much more likely to do things like yell at our spouse or kids when we're stressed out or tired, even though we know it's not gonna be helpful.
We just can't help ourselves.
We just can't help ourselves.
Now, when the prefrontal cortex goes offline, we fall back into our old habits.
Now, when the prefrontal cortex goes offline, we fall back into our old habits,
Which is why this disenchantment is so important.
which is why this disenchantment is so important.
Seeing what we get from our habits helps us understand them in a deeper level.
Seeing what we get from our habits helps us understand them at a deeper level,
To know it in our bones, so we don't have to force ourselves to hold back or restrain ourselves from behavior.
We don't have to force ourselves to hold back or restrain ourselves from behaviors.
Just less interested in doing it in the first place.
We just less interested in doing it in the first place.
And this is what mindfulness is all about.
And this is what mindfulness is all about.
Seeing really clearly what we get when we get caught up in our behavior,
Seeing really clearly what we get when we get caught up in our behaviors,
becoming disenchanted on a visceral level, and from this disenchanted stance, naturally letting go.
becoming disenchanted on a visceral level, and from this disenchanted stance, we're naturally letting go.
This isn't to say that poof, magically we quit smoking,
This isn't to say that magically we quit smoking,
but over time, as we learn to see more and more clearly the results of our actions, we let go of old habits and form new ones.
but over time, as we learn to see more and more clearly the results of our actions, we let go of the habits and form new ones.
The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment.
The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment.
This willingness to turn toward or just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment. Let go of old habits and form new ones. The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment. This willingness to be interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment. The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting new ones. The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment. Here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds. The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment. This willingness to turn toward our experience rather than trying to make unpleasant cravings go away as quickly as possible.
This willingness to turn toward our experience rather than trying to make unpleasant cravings go away as quickly as possible.
And this willingness to turn toward our experience
And the willingness to turn toward our experience
is supported by
is
curiosity,
supported
which
by
is
curiosity,
naturally rewarding.
which is naturally rewarding.
What does curiosity feel like?
And what does curiosity feel like?
It feels good.
It feels good.
And what happens when we get curious?
And what happens when you get curious?
We start to notice the cravings are simply made up of body sensations.
We start to notice that cravings are simply made up of body sensations.
Oh, there's tightness.
Or there's tightness,
There's tension.
there's tension,
There's restlessness.
there's restlessness.
And that these body sensations come and go.
And these are body sensations, and these body sensations come and go.
These are bite-sized pieces of experiences
These are bite-sized pieces of experience, bite-sized pieces of experiences
that we can manage from moment to moment,
that we can manage from moment to moment,
rather than getting clobbered by this
rather than getting clobbered by this
huge, scary craving that we choke
that
on.
we choke on.
In other words,
In other
when we
words,
get curious,
when we get curious,
we step out of our old
we step out of our old
fear-based reactive habit patterns
fear-based reactive habit patterns,
and we step into being.
and we step into being.
We become this inner scientist where we're eagerly awaiting that next data point.
We start to become inner scientists, where we're eagerly awaiting next data point.
Now, this might sound too simplistic to affect behavior,
Now, this might sound too simplistic to affect behavior,
but in one study we found that mindfulness training was twice as good as gold standard therapy at helping people quit smoking.
but in one study found that mindfulness training was twice as good as gold standard therapy at helping people quit smoking. In one study we found that mindfulness training was twice as good as gold standard therapy at helping people quit smoking.
So it actually works.
So it actually works.
And when we studied the brains of experienced meditators,
And when we study the brains of experienced meditators,
we found that parts of a neural network of self-referential processing called the default mode network were at play.
we found that parts of neural network of self-referential processing called the default mode network were at play.
And when we studied the brains of experienced meditators, we found that parts of a neural network of self-referential
We found that parts of a neural network of self-referential processing
called the default mode network were at play. Now,
called the default mode network were at play. 네, 오늘 여기까지 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.